Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Glenn with GC Extreme. We're working on this 1996 XP 787 with the 800, also called the 800, 787 engine. Picked this up on a double trailer with an 03 GTI. I did a video about that earlier. It was a great score. Hell of a deal. Had a few issues with this. I already started removing the decals. I already used mold and mold armor, mold and mildew killer remover, stain remover to clean up the horrid hood. We still have to make it shine with some linseed oil and some other chemicals. We'll make it shine again. I've removed the mats. I punched out the rivets in the holes, got it all cleaned up. I will be filling the holes with some 2-part marine epoxy. Grab that. I like to use this Loctite brand marine epoxy. It's a 2-part epoxy. It dries white. Works great if you have a white hull, but for the yellow hull, it's going to be white. But you're going to sand it down a little bit, smooth, and you're going to be putting mats. You're going to be putting mats on it anyway. So, but this works great. I'll do this tonight. That way it'll have 24 hours to cure, and then I'll sand it later. We'll probably do some wet sanding and a little buffing to bring back this shine. Of course, I got the registration decals removed and the side decals, lower side decals removed. Some of the warning decals I got removed, but most of the other side graphics, stock graphics were already removed, so that saved me a lot of time. So the big issue with this was, one, the customer said that the carbs were flooding out. He's got some blue clear gas lines in there. We're going to take that out and swap it with the black gas line. But we're also going to rebuild the carbs. I don't know if the previous owner rebuilt them, or he said he went through them, but I don't think he rebuilt them. If he did rebuild them, he probably went with a cheap Chinese kit. We won't know until we get them carbs off and torn apart. But the other issue was the starter Bendix was broken. Threw in a good starter and a new starter solenoid, so we got it to crank over. We've got 150 great compression in both cylinders, so that's awesome. We are good to go engine wise. I also rebuilt the ray valves with a ray valve kit from OSD Marine. Did that in the previous video. So we're getting there. We're making some progress. Spending a little time on the cosmetic because I don't really like to work on a dirty machine. And I was waiting for some stuff, so I just kind of went to town with the decal remover. Rubber eraser and a drill, and just go to town and removed a lot of the decals, the registration stuff. So, and then I used purple power degreaser to clean stuff, and Scotch pad to clean up the footwells. Cleaned up pretty good. I'll show you that in a second. But yeah, the mold and mildew remover worked great for the hood, and the seat doesn't work so well for the rubber pad here, the rubber hood steering pad. But we got great compression, so now we just need to start doing some mechanical issues, work on it. Carbs. We're going to replace the carrier bearing as well. Gas lines. We'll pull the gas tank out eventually, and we'll replace, we'll check the float, maybe replace the float in there. I don't even know if the gas gauge is working. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't show any bars, so it probably doesn't work. So that'll be on the hit list too. So a lot of work still left to do, but not as much as you think. Let's give you a quick walk around on all the work done. So as you can see, we got the lower decals removed. I still got to clean that up. Got the registration decals. Looked like someone had, when this was all dirty before, like someone hit it with a buffer or something and melted this a little bit. I got it cleaned up, but we'll wet sand this and hopefully clean that up a little bit. But the mold and mildew remover makes it clean, but it also dulls it. You can see this whitish stuff to it. We'll bring that color back with some boiled linseed oil and some other products. So as you can see, the footwells are all cleaned up. We got those holes we got to fill up with epoxy. We got the decals back here removed. I got to clean up some of that residue, of course. So yeah, making some progress. Got my flashlight here. I'll show you guys some stuff. Let me remove this seat. Okay, so there's my key. There's our compression on our rear cylinder is 150. Look at that, 150. The front was just as good. Let's release that. And of course, we got our ray valves rebuilt. We're going to replace these oil lines. Grab my flashlight. We're going to replace these oil lines here. We're going to replace the oil line there and to the bottom and that filter. And as you can see, we got that bluish green gas line. And they didn't even use a hose clamp. No hose clamp. Well, at least on this front. Looks like they used well, they didn't even have it in the right spot. That clamp right there, look at that. Well, here's one problem. Look at that. Is the Y back there? I can't. It looks like the Y is there. So looks like he's got a line going to the end down there. He's got the pulse line hooked up, but he's got the wire right there. No wonder he's got the Y completely wrong. He hooked up the gas line wrong. That Y should be right here. So he's only getting gas, I think, to the front or the first the rear, the PTO carb. So that's one issue. Why he couldn't get it to run? He hooked up the gas wrong. But we're going to get this carb out, these carbs out, and we're going to rebuild them. Now that water in there is from me washing the footwells and it going into the hole. That's what that's from. So we're going to replace this carbon seal there with a carrier bearing. And we're eventually going to wash and clean out this hole the best we can with the engine in. Yeah, our VTS doesn't work. So we might do a bypass for that. We might just leave it as is. I don't know. I'm kind of picky about some stuff like that. So let's pop open this hood. Yeah, he was running the wrong. He's got BR9 ES. Should be BR9 8 ES, not 9s. You need 8s. Oh, okay, so still got all this to clean up. We'll wash this eventually all out, but as you can see, blue gas line. And let's see how he has this hooked up. So this should be our supply. So our top line is the supply. Oh yeah, I got that backwards. So this is our supply. And then this is our return. So yeah, that's why it was flooding out. Sorry, my bad. He was only getting gas to this one. And it looks like something with the return, or it was flooding out because it wasn't exiting or something. It wasn't, I don't know. I will take it. I don't know what happens when you have that Y on the wrong piece. But yeah, that's all mixed up. So yep, that's all wrong. But grab my flashlight. So we got the starter in here. I got to finish bolting it up. I got to do that rear bolt. That one, it's hard to see on that bracket. Right there is hard to get at. We'll make sure our oil pump is set right. And we'll replace these oil lines. I'm going to have to empty that oil tank, of course, like I always do. And let's see what gas. Oh my gosh. Full tank of gas almost. Oh gosh, that's going to be a pain to get out. Okay. So yeah, still got some work to do. We'll take the compression tester off. We'll get some BR8s in there. We'll get those carbs off. And to take the carbs off, it's pretty easy. We need to undo this cable with these 2 tins. That's your choke cable. There is a Allen set screw back here that you got to get to on each of these to loosen that up. Then we got this other cable down here, and you got to unhook that from the thing. And then this cable here, which is your oil pump cable, unhook that. And then you just have your bolts. So it's pretty easy to remove. And then you've got your pulse line and your other hoses, gas lines. So won't take but a few minutes to get that off. So let's get cracking at that. I got to get some tools. Okay, so we got the carbs out. Pretty easy to get out. Remember, there are these set screws here, which is a 2mm set screw to get those out. And then you have your cable hooks that sit in those, in these holes here that you got to remove. So, and then you have your main bolts and your hoses, of course. But yeah, very easy. Took just a few minutes to get out. So let's look at this way he has this set up. So this is our supply. Now both of these are exits, I believe, but one exit should be feeding this one. So we should have a straight line going from here to here. Now this exit should exit and actually just go back to the tank. So this should be going here. This Y should be here because this piece and this piece are both exits. So then they need to be connected over here. So it looks like instead of this going as a return, we're seeing that to this second carb. So then this second carb is flooding out, I'm guessing. That's what's happening. So we're getting gas to both, I think, but this one's flooding out. I don't know, someone that's more of an expert on the flow and how these work can probably chime in, but I'm just going to tear them apart, rebuild them with my new rebuild kit, and put them back in correctly the way I know how. So we'll get these things torn apart. We'll grab some tools. We'll get the right tools for the jobs, and we'll grab our kit. Okay, so we have here most of what we need to do the carb cleaning. We've got our carbs. We've got our carb cleaner. We have our carb kit from OSD, which we'll get to that after we get it apart. We got some new, fresh stainless hose clamps. We have our JIS screwdrivers. Now, of course, these are the Japanese JIS, so the bits are a little different than your standard Phillips. So if you're using a standard Phillips on these, you're probably going to strip them out. As you can see, this one here is just about stripped out. Look at that, because that's what happens when you use the wrong tool, because many people think that they are just regular Phillips. They are not. Then we have our flathead screwdrivers. We have our small ones for the jets. We have our Allen wrenches. We have some brushes and some side cutters. And then some more jet nozzle and jet stuff cleaning bits. And then we have our pump here for pop-off testing. And a knife and a hammer. And we have our trays where we're going to put some stuff. So let's get started. So first thing is first, I'm going to pop off the connector here. I'm just going to set that right there for now. We want to get these disconnected. Okay, so this is our PTO carb here and our mag carb. So this one's going to have our pump on it, our fuel pump right here. This is going to be the one that's going to be the most pain to rebuild. So we'll go ahead and get this one started first. Let's get these lines off of it. We'll get these off our Y. You may want pliers for these type of clamps. So there's our Y taken off. Set that right there. Garbage line. Okay, well, here are our bolts. We'll set those there for now. Let's get this thing taken apart. I'm going to do the high and low needles first. Just unthread this right here. So what we're going to do is ultimately is we're going to replace. There's a washer in there. I'm going to get that washer. There we go. We're going to replace this O-ring here. Really bad O-ring, so that's garbage. Now there's O-ring, another one inside this one here. Let's get that off. Plastic cap. Now these needles are two different sizes. There are two different size O-rings. The inside diameter is different. So there's our old O-ring. So we'll set these aside. So when you go to replace them, you got to have to really close eyes to see which ones of these O-rings are smaller than the other. You don't want to put the wrong one on the wrong needle. So let's see how easy these are to get off. Since the previous owner already had, it's not even tight. Not even tight. That one was snug. Yeah, their previous owner had these apart. He said he went through them. I don't know if he rebuilt them or if he just cleaned them, but lots of issues with people that haven't learned what they're doing when rebuilding carbs. Can't even put the right gas lines in the right way. Simple mistakes make a huge difference. Wow, I've never had this come off so easy. Normally it's all caked on there. Huh. So set that aside. He said he rebuilt them, or he went through them. I don't know what that means. The diaphragm looks okay, but let's check this filter. I'll just grab it with this. That's pretty clean. Not dirty. I do not know if these are going to be OEM kits or not. I cannot tell yet. We'll know in just a minute whether this is an OEM kit. Once we get this off. Yeah, it wasn't too tight. Yep. Now, if you're doing this for the first time and they're not loose, you want to get an impact like this, put your bit in there, give it a good hit, and that'll knock them loose pretty easily. So this is about 20 bucks or so, like Fleet Farm or other local hardware stores. Comes in very handy. Yep. Well, they were somewhat snug. They weren't super tight, so. those there. Okay, moment of truth. Ah. Yep, that's a Chinese one. Aftermarket. So I'm not going to reuse any of this crap. Okay, so basically, you see this red cap? That's a 99% surefire way you know it's a Mikuni. A genuine Mikuni part. Not a Chinese knockoff. So, yep, Chinese knockoff. Garbage. Another reason why he was having problems. Okay, so these are my... Okay, got that one loose. Let's see if I can get this one. There we go. Now I got new screws from OSD. I'm not going to reuse these. Put them in my excess pile over here. So now we're officially going to remove this little screw, and there's a plastic little valve, right? A little flap right there. We'll get that replaced. Oh, now we've got a O-ring or gasket here. We want to take that off. Then we have our two jets, high and low, right in there and there. This is where you might need a special small flathead for. Do not lose these. So this is where this little kit comes in handy. Get down in there. Do not lose these. They are small because your new kit won't come with those. You don't normally need to replace them. You just need to clean them. Okay, now we're going to do our arm and our spring here. Oh, we've got a silver spring. Don't think that's the right one. Put that there. We'll throw that needle away. One more little screw. Oh, yes. One little screw right in there. And that is for the retainer. Now we're going to replace that. I don't want to use that one. It's a little strip, so garbage. Now we're going to pull out the seat. It's not even brass. Look at that. It's silver. Looks like it's probably 61. I can't tell. I can't get a good focus. But I'm going to assume it's not even the right size. So it's garbage. So now we're all taking apart here. Now this is the point where you can decide whether you want to spray everything with carb cleaner, spray everything out, spray all the holes, get it clean. You can do that, and or you can use the ultrasonic cleaner. So this is our ultrasonic cleaner. Did a video of this before. Get it plugged in. I'm going to add some more fluid to that. And we'll get them in there and get them cleaned up. I'll spray them first. What I normally do is spray them out first, set them in there. We'll give them about good 30-40 minutes on hot once they're hot to clean them, and then bring them out and then spray them again with carb cleaner. Just kind of give them a good rinse with carb cleaner. So that one's taken apart. We'll have to remove these little valves and replace those as well. So now we'll do this one. This one's basically the same thing. You just don't have the pump. You don't have the gas pump, the fuel pump. So basically the same thing. Let's do this side first. Take my I like to keep everything separate. Yeah, well, these are somewhat snug. They're not tight, but they're snug enough. Oh, they're just my extra bolts there. I won't be using those. These kit comes with new socket heads, so I'll be using those instead. See if I can get that. There we go. Get that O-ring out of there. So that was easy. Still got to do the jets on this one. Let's take off our plastic cap. Just gonna put that with that other one. Some of the parts it don't matter if you get mixed up. The caps and stuff are the same, but I like to keep the all the internal stuff, and especially the needles and jets, separated. Do not lose that washer. It's not a normal washer. Bad O-ring. Put that there. Take that O-ring off. There we go. Garbage. Okay. So now we got to do this side. Grab the right one. Yeah, that one was pretty much stripped. Previous owner pretty much he almost stripped all of them out. So again, use the right JIS screwdriver. You can get these on Amazon. Extra screws. Won't be reusing these screws. There we go. So, yep, no red cap again, of course. Garbage. Ugh. Okay, that one was a little tight. No, that one wasn't at all. Set those there. Yep, another Silver Spring and aftermarket Chinese junk. Okay, so as you can see, that one's stripped. Previous owner stripped that out. Okay, now comes a chore. Yes, it's a big bit, but we'll push it in there and it will work. There we go. So we want to keep the retainer. We're going to throw away this stripped screw. Yeah, those came out way too easy. They should not come out that super easy. We'll take, there we go. So we'll do the same thing with these screws, remove those. Garbage. Again, now with our high and low jets. Small screwdriver. So as you can see, there's a groove. There's a groove there for your small screwdriver. So we're all taken apart. So now we're going to spray them with carb cleaner, and we will get them in the ultrasonic cleaner. Now before I do that, did anyone remember, did I take off a filter from this one? I remember taking the gasket off, but I only have one filter in my junk pile. I will have to rewatch my video to see if I even took a filter off. Did the previous owner not put a filter in there? That would cause some carb or some flooding issues as well. Oofta. Anyway, we're waiting for that to heat up. I gotta turn it on. And we will get these in there. So I'll be back. Okay, so we got the carbs in here. I did remove the fittings from the pump. We get all that in there. It's not quite hot yet. It's still heating up. So we'll take these little screws and this little piece off with that little clear. We'll take that off. Always use your best judgment on your screws. If they feel stripped, don't reuse them. This one felt okay. I do have new ones, but you don't want to deal with stripped ones next time you come to rebuild them. So yeah, these come off pretty easy, so I'm pretty sure I can reuse them. They don't, and of course I'm using the right tool, so that helps. So just these little plastic clear little things. And we'll throw those in the cleaner as well. Get them all good and clean. Now usually when these pumps comes off, there's like a really cardboard base that sticks to these, and they are a pain to get off. They take forever. So normally I throw a bunch in. I always throw them in here in a Kim Dry parts cleaner, let them sit. And I buy new ones. These are 20 bucks, and I spray paint them. So I always have new ones ready to go. So then I'll swap out the old one and have new ones and just keep a rotation. So a new one ready to go. So we'll clean this with carb too. Just carb cleaner, spray them down, they're good. And we'll get them back together. So we'll throw away all these cheap Chinese junk parts. Right in the garbage where that Chinese junk goes. And we're going to work on removing these lines. Since we got the carbs off, we can access where they go a lot easier. I need a needle nose for that. Let me grab some tools. Okay, so these come in handy. Okay, so they've got the little metal sleeve there you want to pull off and get them off. You don't want to break those nipples, those little fittings there. You don't want to break those. And then they run down here to our pump. Get in here and one done. Let's see if we can get the other one. There we go. Hard to see, but and we'll just pull them out of the snap spot. And there is our old line. So we'll cut 2 new pieces, same length, with the new clamps, and we will get those on. But before we get those on all the way, we want to put some oil in them. We want to prime them a little bit. So I will show you how to do that. Very easy. Okay, so we have our cutter. We have a little oil here, and we have this little turkey syringe, and we're gonna suck it up in here, and we're gonna stick that in there once we get our line cut. So we're gonna cut our lines to our right length. And it's okay if you go a little longer. You just don't want to be shorter. Okay, there's my long one is done. Now we're going to do our short one. And there we go. So this one's garbage now. And we'll take this over with our 4 new clamps. You can also use zip ties, small zip ties if you want, but we'll get ready to replace these lines. So you want to get 1 clamp on there, and you want to get this. I need to cut that straighter. Okay, so we're going to put this on the rotary side valve. We're going to heat it up a little bit, get this kind of hot so it slides on a lot easier. And then we'll slip that on, run it through, but we're not going to connect it to the pump yet until we fill it full of oil. So I'm gonna get this hot and then we'll see if we can get this line installed. Okay, so slide that on just like that. And then run your little clamp down to it. Just like that. And we'll grab our pliers and we'll squeeze it a little tighter and we'll be good. Now we'll run this. It runs underneath, up, into, I can't see on the phone. Yep. Up into these grooves and then into the pump. But we won't do that till after we get our oil line filled with oil. So we got our oil lines there primed. We'll do some zip ties. We'll get these clamps down there and tighten down there, and we should be good to go. Our next project will be taking out the oil from the oil tank and replacing this line and the line to the actual oil pump itself. So it's not hard work, it's just kind of tedious. Sucking out all that old oil. Okay, so while the carbs are cleaning over there in the cleaner, I finished up getting the oil line replaced. New filter, new line here, and I installed the shut-in valve for the main line for the rotary valve. Now that way, in the middle, for winter storage, you turn that off to keep the pressure of the oil off the rotary valve and the crank seals. That'll give you extra life from your crank seals. So the next project, of course I pumped out the old oil. They had the blue oil, as you can see in there. Pumped out the old oil using a pump. Got the new lines installed. But the next project will be removing the gas line, and the hoses here, and getting that gas tank emptied, getting it out and cleaned out and putting fresh gas in it after we get it back in, of course. And then we'll get new gas lines ran. So we're making some progress. So that'll be next on the to-do list, as well as probably at the same time I will be removing the jet pump, getting the jet pump off and rebuilding that. And then of course, while we're at it, we will replace that carbon seal with a carrier bearing. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this quick video, getting some work done on this XP. I'm going to put some covers over the intake holes for the carbs. We'll get this thing washed out once we get that gas tank removed. Got to remove the old gas first, and then we'll give it a good washing. And then we'll start putting stuff back together and getting that jet pump removed and done as well. So making progress. And then we'll got some finishing up touches we'll do before we do we'll do wet sanding, buff and polish, and then install mats. And then we'll get it listed up for sale. So still debating whether or not I want to fix that trim module, do the trim fix, or what I want to do. But throwing another $100, another hour of work at it. But maybe someone will buy it as is and fix it themselves. I don't know. We'll see. But knowing me, I'll probably fix it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Hit the like button. Please subscribe. Leave me a comment. After this project, we'll move on to the 03 GTI we picked up. Get the trailer all fixed up as well. So stay tuned for those videos. Peace out, everyone.